Yes, indeed, of course, a pleasant good night to all and sundry, east, west, north, south, central. Our friends in Tobago, and wherever you are, streaming on the World Wide Web. Remember, the target, of course, is 20,000 in the interim, of course. Tell a friend, tell an enemy, tell a family member, tell, of course, an acquaintance, tell, of course, your job colleague, tell all and sundry that the corridor transformation is here for the specific and only purpose of course, transformation. Transformation of whom and where? In the East-West corridor in particular, where, of course, the greatest concentration of the African community resides. But more than that, it is the largest concentration of seats that will, of course, cause a government to be in office or not. In particular, having, of course, from the evidence, the gerrymandering history and the gerrymandering antecedent of the PNM, and we know that they are simply toxic. They are bad news. They are the existential threat to Trinidad and Tobago's development. And if that wasn't so, then they will have to explain why it is that Trinidad and Tobago in 21st century Trinidad and Tobago, after, of course, being in government since 1954 or 1956, and then, of course, today we are facing, of course, the most shambolic, the most chaotic, and the most devastating, and the most, of course, humiliation as a country that was supposed to be, of course, the third richest per capita in the Western Hemisphere. You grapple with that. How the hell they could say that they have been successful and they're looking for another term? That is the classic definition or exemplification or characterization of madness. Yes, indeed. How can we reward incompetence, impotence, and destruction with, of course, the control of the treasury of the country and the society? That conscience, that situation, those of us who believe that we are suckers for punishment, or you are suckers for punishment, will have to live with, particularly where our children are concerned. Yes, indeed, we can liberate ourselves, because it's about time, of course, that we go home safely to, of course, what we know objectively, principally, and exemplified in, of course, the Kamala Persad-Bissessa UNC administration, because they have demonstrated that in 5 years they could have done wonders for Trinidad and Tobago in terms of advancement, and therefore we must not shoot, and I want to use the term here, whether they like it or not, shoot ourselves in both feet, because that is what it is. These days they tell you don't use those terms because it's too violent. Well, I say we must, of course, be violent if only to let, of course, those who are prepared, of course, to commit to that level of suicide, and the majority of us are not prepared so to do, and the majority of us, of course, are prepared, of course, to save those who are increasingly in a minority, of course, environment, almost extinction. But we need to say it as it is, that the PNM is toxic, that they are disappointing, that they have betrayed, of course, the people, the goodwill that was reposed in them, and in spite, of course, of their malperformance, people were prepared to give them an opportunity, of course, in 2015 and 2020. No longer must that be in 2025 under the imposing elections. Let's not waste time. Yes, indeed. So let's, of course, liberate ourselves. And, of course, as on a Sunday night, we like, of course, to go slightly religious. And why not? Let's go again. yes, indeed, of course, we'll overcome all rocks, all seas, all impediments, and indeed overcome the PNM and Rowley and his, of course, corrupt, criminalistic bunch. And of course, tonight, no exception, we will, of course, look at the genesis of the Earl Christopher, what I consider to be debacle. The Earl Christopher embarrassment, the Earl Christopher continuation of the destruction of Trinidad and Tobago by the Rowley administration. Of course, claiming that they don't know anything. Well, we have gotten that before. We have heard that before. And anyone who, of course, doesn't learn by their history, they are doomed to repeat it. And Rowley and they are extremely recent history. Extremely of a pernicious, evil, diabolical, and of course, destructive nature.
Police Commissioner Earl Harewood Christopher has been arrested and charged by investigators as part of an ongoing probe into the importation of 2 sniper rifles for the Strategic Services Agency, SSA. In a jaw-dropping display of power, Deputy Commissioner of Police Suzette Martin and an elite squad of intelligence officers stormed the office of her own boss, Commissioner Earl Harewood Christopher, in a dramatic takedown that stunned the nation. The development has led government to call an emergency cabinet meeting. The elite unit swooped down on police headquarters in Port of Spain with military precision, executing a high-stakes raid that left no room for escape. Within moments, the country's top cop was detained and subjected to intense questioning, marking an unprecedented moment in Trinidad and Tobago's law enforcement history. With the full weight of the law crashing down, the walls are closing in on those at the centre of the explosive SSA sniper rifle scandal. This bold move by the Deputy Commissioner signals a ruthless crackdown on perceived corruption and a warning to anyone who thought they were untouchable. Her message is clear. No one, not even the Commissioner herself, is above the law. The investigation, which has already resulted in a search of the home of former SSA Director Major Rated Roger Best, focuses on the procurement of Accuracy International AX, 2 bolt-action sniper rifles, and other high-value firearms and accessories. According to the warrant issued by Acting Sergeant Lawrence Jofield, assigned to the Deputy Commissioner of Police in charge of intelligence and investigations connected to the importation and purchase of 2 sniper rifles. The warrant indicated that there is reasonable ground for believing that documents pertaining to the acquisition of 2 specialized Accuracy International AX2 bolt-action sniper rifles and an array of high-value firearms accessories, cellular phones including SIM cards and SD cards, images, calendars, phone books, contacts, SMS messages, emails, pictures, videos, audio files, call logs, installed application data, voice recordings, etc., which there is reasonable ground for believing will afford evidence as to the commission of an indictable offence, namely misbehaviour in public office contrary to common law. Top-level police sources confirmed to the Express that Best was detained on Wednesday night after investigators executed the warrant at his Pinewood Drive home along Alton Road, Arima, as part of an ongoing inquiry into the Strategic Services Agency's, SSA, procurement of high-grade military weapons and accessories during his...
So yes, indeed, people, what we have learned so far. Remember, I said out of an abundance of caution, I will make no comment. As the matter was, of course, unveiling. It was, of course, becoming more and more intense, and the information was flowing, some of which, of course, would have been misinformation in the mix. In that matrix, it would be, of course, out of an abundance of caution, not to of course, make statements that would either be inflammatory, would be rank and unadulteratedly, of course, consequence of misinformation or disinformation, and what, of course, the people would like it to be in an objective scenario where a lot of people feel subjectively responsible to make comments and so on that would, of course, at the end of the day, not result in the population being well informed. So, of course, I thought tonight I will deal with that matter now that, of course, we have almost all of the information so far, except, of course, who is that government minister that the SOE was designed to give a slap on the wrist, having in his possession a prohibited firearm. In this case, of course, the target is Stuart Young, the, of course, anointed Prime Minister by Rowley. Let us not waste time. He is the man who Kamala Persad-Bissessar said a senior government minister under investigation for the returning of a firearm that could have been prohibited by, of course, importing accessories to an ordinary piece of ammunition that eventually could have, of course, be adjusted to be a prohibited weapon. Stuart Young. And let's not waste time, because it will be revealed ultimately. You see, I like to be, of course, as biblical as possible, because there is something called karma, there is something called, of course, poetic justice, and there is something called, of course, divine intervention. And in the case of Rowley and Day, it is always something devilish, something sinister, something wicked, something evil, only to stay in power. It may be important at this point in time to define what is power as opposed, of course, to what is authority. You see, power is the ability to make people do what you want them to do, whether they like it or not, irregardless of how legally viable or how the laws views that particular situation. Power. Again, power is the ability to make people do what you want them to do, whether they like it or not. Authority, however, recognizing, of course, the whole question of justice, the whole question of right and wrong, the whole question of moral and ethical pillars and values, and the whole question, of course, of doing things procedurally correct, recognizing that there are limits and that therefore checks and balances in the context of something called natural justice. Natural justice includes, of course, those who accuse you. Not only must you be able to confront your accuser, not only must you defend yourself against your accuser, but the accuser has the responsibility to bring all of the evidence, probative or otherwise, to prove what they say you would have done. It is against that context that, therefore, it is not surprising that after all of the initial statements that, of course, Erla Christopher was arrested and that she was detained and that she was at a different police station, in this case, of course, Sinclair, and that, of course, Best, the head of the former head of the Strategic Services Agency, the spy agency, who was fired some time ago for plotting, according to Rowley, very important, plotting to, of course, overthrow this lame duck, this asinine, this dotish, this simpleton, this of course ineffective, this of course indolent, this dangerous, this of course opportunistic, and this of course anti-democratic and anti of course electoral, or put another way, bent on course undermining the electoral process, and we have seen that with evidence in 2015 and 2020. Let us not waste time. It is against that background, therefore, when all of that was done and the matter was taken to the DPP, the DPP told, of course, Suzette Martin and others, and we talked about Suzette Martin last night. We will have, of course, of necessity to deal with that tonight as well, because we got some more information out of Tobago, because I understand she's a Tobagonian. And if she has done that, and if she was involved, of course, in the kidnapping of a Trinidad and Tobago, let's not waste time. She can't do nothing. The court said that she kidnapped a Trinidad and Tobago citizen out of Barbados. The issue here is Rowley cannot in any way, form or fashion isolate or distance or of course claim non-culpability, awareness, consciousness, and not just conspiracy but participatory. Participatory, yes indeed. How the hell a plane allocated, assigned to CARICOM for rescue and of course other emergencies was able to be commanded by the police to of course go and get the person that they say was of course escaping and was a fugitive from justice in Trinidad and was in Tobago and was in Barbados. I'm talking about the Brent Thomas matter. The Brent Thomas matter, people. Let us not waste time. But of course, we normally will give way to the callers, so let's go straight here. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Hello?
Welcome to the corridor. Where you calling from?
I'm not hearing no response here.
No response?
Lennox?
You should be. Hello? None? No response, no response, no response. All right, okay, we'll have to, I thought we had solved that problem. All right, call back caller and we'll see what we can do with respect to that or any other future callers. Yes, indeed, they are sweating tonight. Are sweating tonight. It's important that we understand. Are we not going to revel in the hope and our own, of course, bias imposition on this matter? No. We are talking objectivity. We are talking justice here. We are talking the use of authority as opposed to power. We are talking about abuse of office. We are talking about high-handedness. We are talking about undermining, of course, natural justice. We are talking about agenda that is not, of course, in concert or consistent with the responsibility. But let me take it from another angle and see. Let me take it from another angle. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Hey, Lennox.
All right. All right. Go ahead, caller.
Lennox.
Let me get this other caller and see what's happening. Hold on, caller. Hold on, caller. We have another person on the line. Where you calling from? Here?
Still the same thing, boy. No response, Lennox.
All right. Okay. Well, you have to call
So
me
I don't
again.
know if I'm live.
All right. Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead, caller. Go ahead, caller. Yes.
Lennox, I'll ask you a question.
Yes.
Does the post, like, have you to fact check people
Uh,
because that's what we play
uh,
of Gary Griffin. And Gary Griffin make a blank statement of camera giving gun to everybody. But and Stephen Wills did not fact check him and say that's not true. He was going to give guns to people who qualify to carry a gun. Qualified for it. But I think like most people have
what you saying? Just tell me if I'm right or wrong. Are you saying that Gary Griffin said that Kamala was going to give guns to any and everybody? Is that what you're saying?
that's what he was talking to Stephen.
It's all, well, oh gosh, come on, man. You know that this man has a chip on his shoulder, and you can't take him seriously because there must be protocols and criteria under which clearly they will have to, of course, adhere to. Like for example, background checks. That is par for the cause, and a man like Griffith must know that, and therefore I see that if he says that, then he was making mischief. Because clearly, anybody with a modicum of common sense will know that there must be criteria in order, of course, to get it. But it will be much more available for everyone. Go ahead.
Yeah, but the thing is,
You gotta be faster because plenty people are calling in, so you gotta be quick.
Yeah. But they're going to make it on television. And some people watch the program and listen to that. They don't believe what she's saying. So you see, the whole side is like Stephen Richard and Corey said, no,
Yeah.
that's not what she said.
Well, that's our job. That's our job. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. The Nathan.
Okay then. Yeah, sorry about that. But we have to speed up. Mr. Faizaman, are you hearing me? Faizaman, are you hearing me? All right. Okay. So it means that we have to close out that off, and let's go straight to who is this? This is Tagrigua. Are you hearing me? Tagrigua, are you hearing me? All right. Let's go to Miss Santa Cruz. Tagrigua, sorry. Tagrigua, are you hearing me? All right, go ahead, Tagrigua.
Right. I'm going to be very brief.
Go ahead.
Barrett Alvary to come back tonight with that noticiousness that Burroughs was arrested. You remember that?
Yes.
But I want to tell Alvary, he's very cagey, you know that?
Yeah.
When Burroughs was arrested, it's Robinson ordered the arrest.
Yeah, but not only that, Burroughs was arrested out of a commission of inquiry that made certain recommendations. Yeah.
And it's not a junior police like Suzette and them could arrest Burroughs. It had to come from on top.
That's right.
Right? And you have the man in the street, ordinary man in the street.
Yes.
But then they see themselves in the same position as the commissioner.
Yes.
And saying that if it was them, they wouldn't get no bill. And you can imagine that?
Well, you know, people have their various, of course, delusions, illusions, and preference because they have biases. Yeah, they got mad. So let's not waste time with them.
I'm telling you. All right, well,
yes, indeed, because we have quite a lot of people, of course, trying to get in this tonight. It's a sudden avalanche of course, the persons. I thought I got the system working properly, but it has not. But let's go straight to the line again. Of course, Mr. Faizaman has found a way to get in. Very good. A pleasant good night, sir.
A pleasant good night to you, Uncle Lennox, and all the listeners.
Yes, man.
And contributors. Let's share it live. We need it 20,000. We need it.
Yes, man.
And let's grow.
Some say 40,000 now, but I was set up for 20,000 in the meantime.
Yeah, as we reach 20,000, we will ask them to do like Jesus 7 times over 7, man.
Yes, man. That's right.
So, tonight is the topic of mathematics. So, we will multiply and divide and subtract and add everything together.
Yes.
So, Uncle Lennox, you see, high profile case, high profile investigation.
Hold on, we have another caller on the line. All right? Hold on, Ms. Santa Cruz. Go ahead, Mr. Faizaman.
And then we have high misbehavior in
hold on,
public
Ms. Santa Cruz. We have another caller on the line. Yeah, okay. All right.
So,
okay,
you're seeing where, once again, the authorities are taking the citizen for a boat ride.
Yeah.
And it's smooth water, but yet still telling me it's rough. So who have eyes to see and who have ears to hear, they'll smell what's going on.
Yes, indeed.
Because I can understand that a procurement legislation was passed.
Yes.
And the minister, listen good, the minister, in all what this government or that what we do, he gave the authority to ministers. The ministers and them have the authority. So it went to the, how could you say in that day, 2023, a sitting commissioner give authorization, which is their jurisdiction, right? And you're questioning it now. So you see, when you want to get rid of someone, when you don't do your dirty bidding, I will say
yes, it's clear. It's twisting and turning for convenience and for evil deeds, because this is a state of emergency. We are yet to know whether or not, of course, Suzette Martin, whether she did it under the SOE, the state of emergency, and if that is so, yeah, on the one side, but the authority comes from the commissioner of police, not acting, not of course deputy. The commissioner of police is the boss under a state of emergency. So of course we are very, very clear as to the role of Suzette Martin, and of course we have some more information about Suzette Martin being a Tobagonian, of course, and all of the goings on in Tobago as far as the THA administration is concerned, and clearly her role in attempting, of course, to frustrate and to undermine that administration in favor of the PNM. Let's not waste time. All right? Yes.
So in time to come, by in the morning when the sun rises, they'll say it's a glitch then. It have a glitch.
Of course, it's multiple glitches. Multiple glitches. But we have a lot of people, Mr. Pfizer, but sorry to haste you, but we need to get on, right? All right then, thank you. Yes, indeed. Of course. Go ahead, Mr. Cruz.
Good night, Lennox. Good night to you and to everybody out here. Lennox, before I get into the meat of my contribution, I'd just like to alert you to something, please.
Yes.
Somebody, quite a few people call me today and asking me if you better check and see if your chat is not being hacked again by some porn site, because they said they find there's a lot of like Zami talk and gay talk and all kind of things going on your chat, right? So please check it and see, because they say it's getting vulgar and they are no longer interested. Because I'm a sharer, Lennox, I'm a sharer.
Yes,
and when I share now, that's the feedback I'm getting. So you better check and see if your chat is not turning into a porn site.
I hear you. Thank you very much. Of course, I certainly do that. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. No, the next thing is, okay, Erla is not charged. Can Erla go out to work tomorrow?
Well, she's still there is no action by the Police Service Commission on the matter, so therefore one expects that she would, and I would expect her to be. I would expect her to have some sinew as that of the Auditor General. The Auditor General is still on the job.
Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah, but the Auditor General wasn't charged.
Erla was not charged.
No, and then they drop it.
Yeah. Well, this point I'm making, that the DPP said, get the hell out of here. You will hear, of course, the lawyers speaking in that language, yes.
Mm-hmm. The same thing he did Faris, and he had to drop the case against Anand Ram Logan and Gerald Ramdeen, where he discovered now what it is right on there, they paid the man to lie.
Yes.
Who is lying on Erla? Who did this to Erla? Right? Something is not sitting right in this, and I sent you a video. I sent you a video of the former Calypsonian watchman.
Yeah.
It's nice to listen to other people.
I have that as well. I took a note of that as well. Right. I have it right now.
Right.
We're trying to play it tonight.
Right. I sent that for you so I could get an idea as to what he and all is saying. Lennox, let me tell you something, There are too many questions and very few answers as to what it is going on here. But Erla alone shouldn't be under the bus. There should be quite a few people under the bus with Erla. And Lennox, I'll leave it there as we have a lot of calls tonight. Take care.
Thank you very much for that consideration. Because clearly the central figure, the central character, the central author is yet to be, of course, is yet to be expressed publicly, and that is, of course, the insinuation by the opposition leader about a senior government official. And I am saying it is all about Stuart Young and that rifle that he returned. Let's go to the line. Pleasant good night. Welcome. Pleasant good night. Welcome.
Lennox.
Pleasant good night. Welcome.
What I want to say,
Yes.
you know, they set up Ola
Yes.
because they want to get rid of she. And it's from the inside. And you could see it from two persons sitting right there on that meeting that have hand up. You know?
Yeah.
And they set her up. But now it's time for she to get everything settled and to sue the backside, sue them for big time money. Now that's it, Alex.
Yes, my friend. Yes, my friend. Thank you very much for that intervention. Yes, indeed. Yeah. It is crazy. It's if there was an abuse of office, I mean, irretrievably, monolithically magnified. Is that situation? Because somebody want, of course, to make the PNM look good, Rowley and they would go to that level to undermine their very boss. And Suzette Martin cannot get away from the culpability of that. Why are you so anxious? And two things has to be the situation. One, Ola decided not to play the game of Rowley and they. Because coming from Tobago, I got a call today, and I have no reason to doubt because I didn't know that she was a Tobagonian. And therefore, one can make the nexus between, of course, what has been happening to the current THA administration and that woman acquiring power. And the fact is that, of course, she got there under questionable circumstance as a deputy commissioner of police, questionable circumstance because her case was not complete. Let's go to the line. A pleasant good night. A pleasant good night.
Yeah, good night. Lennox?
Yes, man. Loud and clear. Go ahead, my friend.
Yeah, boy, Lennox.
Yay.
They set up that woman, boy. They set up the commissioner.
Yeah, of course.
That's a pulling Gary because Gary playing a game with Stuart Young. Gary playing a game with Stuart Young.
Let's see. That's another dimension, but I want to shoot straight from the hip. Yeah. So far, Stuart Young is involved, yes, but Gary's name is not in it. He didn't sign. They're glad that Ola signed. So if Gary had signed, then he would have been the one, of course, to be facing that which Ola has faced. Clearly. But of course, this was an opportunity to get rid of Ola in order, of course, to bring in the despicable, of course, Suzette. This Suzette woman. Yeah.
The woman in the sense, that's a pulling, Gary playing again there. Yeah? That's a pulling and think about Stuart Young, you know. Yeah? Think about Stuart Young was doing all that. Because when he come in Sani Gandhi, up in Sani Gandhi, you see what he do with Candice and them? Yeah? He pull away the MP. Yeah? Pull away the MP. Like some controlling me, boy.
Yeah, this speak. That is the level of arrogance. That is, of course, I just say a cloned Rowley. Rowley cloned himself. It's just that the fella has a different ethnic and genealogy. Yeah. All right.
I from Sani Gandhi. I call it from Sani Gandhi.
Yes, man. Yeah, we have all those information. We have all of that. Where he, of course, pulled away, and of course, somebody asked to talk with him, and he was not that. Yes.
Yeah, Rowley and the have to go. They must go.
They must go. They have to go.
We want 39 kids.
Yes, sir. All 39. I'm glad that I'm getting I'm beginning, of course, to feel that that is inevitable now. Now that everybody is seeing the evil, the devil that is, of course, in the PNM. Thank you very much, sir. Let's go straight to the line again. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Good night, Mr. Smith.
Good night to you.
Yes. What I gonna tell you, boy? You see me? When I hear people talking about the mere saying empty, I are serious when it comes to this thing. You see, Ola Christopher, she shouldn't be there in the first place. Because if she had any integrity and she reach resigning age, she should go home. She is a mole. She was planned there by Rowley for everything. So what happened to she happened to she. That I have nothing to say on that. But what I want to know is if it have any law pertaining that she couldn't sign off on 2 or 1 sniper rifle, and that's what I want to know. If she was wrongly charged or not. And if she was wrongly charged, so be. If she was wrongly charged, well then that's wrong, right? But if it's so, I have no mercy for Ola, because Ola should be home resting and relaxing, she said. She shouldn't find herself in a situation there. Good night, Mr. Smith.
I hear you, my friend. I hear you, my friend. But I want to say this because last night we said it. We looked at that scenario, and I could see myself, for example, not familiar with the specific law that it is a prohibited except for law enforcement. But listen to this. Listen to the complication. I assume that she didn't know what she was signing. She just signed, of course, a regular firearms user's license. I want to assume that. But even if that was not so, and she knew it was a prohibited weapon, it was for a member of the SSA, which is, of course, an agency of the government and part of the what? Of the law enforcement apparatus of the country. Whether the law for having SSA members carrying arms and ammunition, that law was not yet implemented. It was just a matter of course. One would have expected that. No court in this world will fault Ola Christopher for that. No way. And that is why the DPP told that conspirators group who sharpened the chops, of course, to be promoted and to be, of course, the decision making in that organization. He tell them, get the hell out of my face. Get the hell out. Because whether you like it or not, Rowley and they were making the distinction that Gary Griffin, for example, signed off on firearms users license for the SSA. And one of course, of the persons there, they said, well, listen, it's normal. I was recruited as a SRP, a special, special reserve officer, and he went and do the training, and he got, of course, the relevant authority to use firearms, and all they did is apply for one as anybody else, and they got it. But they would have gotten it because they were part and parcel of the law enforcement apparatus of the country. Whether you say that they weren't authorized to carry or they were authorized to carry sometime later is irrelevant. It is not practical. So, strictly speaking, they try, of course, Suzette Martin tried to, of course, say, strictly speaking, to the letter of the law, without, of course, those intervening factors that are extenuating and is normal in human situation. That is, in fact, SSA is, in fact, a part of the law enforcement apparatus of Trinidad and Tobago. And whether she was aware or unaware, or Gary was aware or unaware, that it wasn't supposed to carry arms based on the law, and sometime afterwards it was authorized for them to carry arms, the fact that it was being contemplated. Because if it was a private security organization or institution, that kind of consideration could not have been. But it is a fellow state agency. And my common sense will tell me that is why the DPP tell them, follow your tail and go. Follow the tail and go. Follow the tail and go. They tell them about. That's what he did to them. So don't tell me. You see, in human situations, as one professor would have told me, what appears to be is not always is. Understand what he said there. What appears to be is not always is in a human situation. In other words, people would have agenda. And as you would have seen with Rowley, and they try, of course, to box it in and to argue their own position because they have bad intent, brutal intent, high-handed intent, political intent, dominance intent to stay in office. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor. Oh, sorry about that. Sorry about that, caller. Sorry about that. Go ahead, caller. Go ahead. Sorry about that. Yes.
Yeah, listen.
Yes.
Remember last time I was telling about this Martin lady, this Martin lady.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, remember I said she was the one who was in the Brent
she
Thomas
is the orchestrator. Yes, she is the
yes,
progenitor.
I remember
yeah.
that. But I looking at this whole thing, how the police and them say to the whole nation, how they lock up the own self, they arrest the own self, because you're going to the police and like you're going to nobody.
Arrest their own self.
You know?
And simultaneously embarrass their own self.
Boy, Rowley and them have this country in a real mess.
I'm telling you, only because they want to protect Rowley and in this case, George Young, who has yet to tell us what that rifle he gave back to the police was all about, and if it was a prohibited one that was not supposed to be in the hands of any civilian. Yes. The SSA is part of the what? Of the law enforcement apparatus of Trinidad and Tobago. So common sense will tell you that if you, whether advertently or inadvertently, whether by chance or whether deliberately, you signed, of course, such a rifle to that agency. I mean, no court of law will accept that was an illegal act on the part of the Commissioner of Police. You had to be a backside and a half to, of course, pursue that course of action. I mean, it is unfathomable, and it should, of course, attract our most vitriolic and, of course, the most highest condemnation of that level of arseness. But go ahead, my friend.
But I find that is wickedness. That is wickedness to the uttermost.
Of course.
But God could deal with them. God could deal with them.
Yes, man. And the only reason that occurred to Erla, and they used that as an opportunity to get her, is because Erla clearly took a position like Gary Griffith would not do certain things that Rowley and them expected to do. And one of which, and she made it very clear, it was very open. The other, of course, is by way of common sense, deductive reasoning. But the first one is, when Rowley said that, of course, police stations were being closed because of afraid bandits, she said no, she disagreed. But there's one that all of us don't know, and that is, there was of course, after the announcement was made that police officers from Trinidad, not only police officers, but of course licensing officers as well, will of course be deployed in Tobago because they want to get at the THA officials. Imagine a team of persons were deployed, a top of police officers from Trinidad, to look for an audio tape. With what information? Is saying that of course Farley and them plotted, of course, to take state money to pursue a propaganda agenda so that they could stay in office. Nothing different to the PNM. Nothing different to the PNM. And that has become, of course, part of our culture. Let us not waste time. Any government in office, as we have seen over the last, several governments on NAR. But even PNM before that, under Eric William, in the last year, they will cut ribbons. That is happening right now. We only just, of course, cut a ribbon for some kind of a fishing depot. They tell me about that is not permissible because you want to try to get a total dominance and therefore try to sully the character of people in order to stay where you are. No, all the asses and grasses, Rowley, it's blue lights and silver braces for all you instead. The hole you dig or digging, you will fall in it. All you. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the Corridor Tobago.
Yes, man, it's Silver Fox here.
Yes, man.
Lennox, this thing with Earl, right?
Yeah.
He don't have a person who does the gun dealing to bring the guns in Trinidad before she sign off on it?
No. She would issue the license, and then the gun dealer will go and get the gun. You can't get the gun and then come. You have no license to carry any gun.
Right.
You understand? So that is the process. Because like take for instance, if I want to use a gun in Trinidad, it is illogical, it is inconceivable that I will go and get the gun and then apply, and when they hold me with the damn gun before I get the license, or I may not get the license at all. You understand the logic? Yeah, right. Okay, so that is the situation. So you must get the license first. So therefore, of course, you qualify, etc., and then you go and get a gun.
But you see this situation that's going on here?
Yes.
I believe he has more to this,
Of course.
I believe Ola, this is my belief, I believe that Ola going in boat and young with that daughter.
Well, she should, if she had no contemplation, she must do that now.
I think
she must do it now.
I think
she must fall in line with, of course, the Auditor General.
I feel she's stepping on toes, and this is a distraction to move she out, right? I figure because the law lords and them say why in boat is not being investigated.
That's right.
Right? I think she's stepping on toes and she paying for the price and things, but she had to fight back.
Of course she has to do that though, because she didn't expect. I'm sure. Look at the woman's face. She's totally dazed. She can't believe. She can't believe up to now. Starting with a lawyer there, standing with a lawyer, she couldn't believe that she was subjected to that kind of what I consider to be betrayal.
That kind of treatment.
Yeah, barbaric and evil and diabolical. Yes.
Again, Silver Foxes, stand up and fight back. You have nothing to lose, right? Deal with them as they deal with you. Girl, take care and don't give up. Fight back. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. And what has to happen? You have these reckless people using the law and weaponizing it against, of course, those who they believe will not conform to what they want. So the outcome is clear. Let me see if I can. I ain't chancing the system. Let me get to the telephone, the handset. The system seems to be giving me some problem tonight. But pleasant good night. Welcome, Mr. Trincity. Mr. Trincity?
Okay. Pleasant good night, Ms. Santa Cruz and Mr. Rima and everyone else on the line.
Yes.
Well, boy, this thing is true facts. She had, as the last caller said, she had to stand up and defend she own little nest.
Yes.
Because I'm telling you, they will pull out all she fed us.
Of course.
And they ain't care who it is.
Without a machine.
I'm telling you, so she had to know what she did. Unless she do or she don't. And as the man say, is who live and who dead. So, but she had to do it. But let us come and ask you a question.
Go ahead, my friend.
And this is just a quick question, and then
yes, because quite a lot of people want to get in tonight. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the question is, I want to find out, was Erla ever charged? That is the question.
No, she was not charged. They say that she was arrested. And they were looking at charges, including, of course, misbehavior in public office. All that time she wasn't charged. In order for that to happen, they would have had to go to the DPP. And when they went to the DPP,
But that's what I'm saying.
the DPP tell them where to get off. Those are my words. Those are my words.
Find any kind of money or anything, or that was just rumors?
That is part of the propaganda, yes, on social media. Because nothing like that was said by the officials, even when, of course, they had their press conference.
Okay, all right. So I will stay on lockdown.
Yes, my friend. Yes, my friend. Yes, my friend. Stay locked on, because we have to hear from her lawyer, and of course, the lawyer would be in a better position, of course, to inform us. Let's go straight to the lawyer and hear what the lawyer is saying.
I have advised her that though she wishes to speak, this is not the time.
All right, okay, let's go back to the line again because, of course, some people just want to speak and they don't want to hear the lawyer speaking for Erla. But go ahead. Pleasant good night.
Pleasant good night, Mr. Lennox.
Pleasant good night to you, my friend.
How are you going?
Well, of course, as could be in the circumstance, I'm watching, of course, the collapse before our very eyes of the PNM and the Rowley administration, and, of course, all of the abuse that they are prepared, of course, to take in the limited time that they have in office, because they must call elections. Elections, after all. The parliament must be prorogued by the 27th of August. Go ahead, my friend.
All right, Mr. Lennox. This is my view on this Erla Christopher thing, right?
Yes.
All right. Good night to the educated listeners, if it's so to speak tonight. My view on this situation here is, I could remember when Dr. Rowley came out and told the public that police station will be closed, but he's forgetting it's under his watch, right? And Erla Christopher know that Rowley is one person and she representing 7,000 persons in the police force.
Yes.
And she stand up with her police officers, because if it Duhat station was closing, it wasn't every station. So she have to defend the good police officers. And if there's the majority, well, then you have to protect.
But let me get clear here. There was never an issue of the police cowarding to the criminals. That was a security measure, because if you have a glass front with tint, and everybody can see you from outside, but you can't see them outside in the night. In the night, I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That is why they would take off the lights. But it's not that the station was not operating in such stations. But go ahead. I want to make it very clear. Go ahead.
Right, correct. So when she stand up and defend her police officers and her police service, that vindictive liar that they call Rowley, right? That rape child, if it's so to speak, that they call the doctor.
You would be correct in all respects. Go ahead.
Right. He don't like opposition. He don't like people come up against him. So the throat and the whole, the head of the SIA or SIS or whatever it is. SSA, and he started to speak. Erla Harewood Christopher she got detained, and they were saying she was charged. But we all have to remember, allegedly, that this man told the public that only when you go out there and you break, only when you go out there and you expose us, for that we kill you politically, right? Those words. So those words fall right back on Erla Christopher, because this Rowley man set up this whole play, allegedly. That is my view, allegedly. Because based on my understanding and my knowledge, the woman, the senior police officer who went and kidnapped Brent Thomas from Barbados. It's in the pipeline that he wants to take her now and make her the commissioner of police because she is his number one now. He done use Erla Christopher, and he want to go into the general election with that woman as the commissioner, because we all know when you done vote, the people that has carried the ballot box is the police officers. And on that day, there is handpicked police officers in order to carry out their duty by moving the ballot box from one point to the next point, which is in the EBC. So we understand now that Keith Christopher, wicked, deceitful, lying deceiver, only tricking the people of Trinidad and Tobago, his plan is in the open. It was hiding for the people who wasn't seeing with the third eye. But we all understand that he planning to steal the election. And Erla Harewood Christopher does attend the same church that the man who the lockup who was controlling the SSA. So she rebelling for certain things. So he lost in control of her. So he wants somebody who he have control over, which is this woman who kidnapped Brent Thomas from Barbados, if so to speak. He wants her to be the next commissioner. So she will toe the line. And I want to ask one question to go to something concerning the same thing. Earlier, I lost a little track of it because I was doing something. Erla Christopher was charged?
She was not.
Right. Well, why, based on my knowledge, why she was not charged? Because at the time, this next mini-me, Dr. Rowley mini-me, this Indian guy, I don't have him Dr. China, he's Indian guy, this Young, right? He was involved in that, and if you charge Erla Christopher, you'll have to charge him, right? And then he forced this Indian guy onto the people of Trinidad and Tobago unconstitutional, right? So if Erla Christopher was charged, he'd have to charge this guy here because he was the National Minister of Security at the time. I wonder if you're with me and if on point.
Go ahead, draw your conclusion because there are others, and I want to, of course,
all right. Well, I just want to say that is why Erla Christopher was not charged, because Churchong would have to be charged too.
All right.
So
that's your interpretation. That's your assessment of the situation. All right.
That is my assessment of the situation.
Oh, great, my friend. Well, I want to tell him, of course, for the first part of his assessment, go to the top of the class because I and all didn't figure out that. But certainly the second part, I don't think there is sufficient evidence to draw the conclusion that Churchong would have been charged if she was charged, simply because the DPP, they would have had to go to the DPP and the DPP say, get out of my face. I mean, that is my interpretation of that situation. But in terms of the first part, I agree with him that once Rowley gets rid of uncooperative Erla, even though she may not be fully qualified by degree-wise, it appears that they are looking, of course, at Suzette Martin to be the next commissioner. Wherever the list is, and the possibility that she is prepared, of course, to use those who are so willing of her members of the police service to undermine the electoral process. I think that is a valid argument. That is not a far-fetched one. Having regard to what she has done in Tobago and harass the THA administration there for frivolous matters, frivolous as this one was. So clearly, you're seeing, of course, the playbook of the PNM manifesting itself. As I said, the last part of it, I don't think I I would concur there. But certainly the first part, that this woman, clearly, if she did what she did in Tobago, is prepared, of course, to interfere with the electoral process and, of course, those ballot boxes and etc., that would be in the possession of the police at some point in time in order, of course, to reach the various offices, returning offices, and, of course, the central office of the EBC. I have no difficulty with that part of it. But let's go to the line. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Pleasant night to you, Mr. Lennox.
Good night to you as well, my friend.
The numbers speak for itself.
Yes, man. It's growing and growing, man.
It is. Let me add my 2 piece. Right, my 2 piece with fries.
Yes, go ahead, my friend, with fries. I hear you.
Right,
it's plenty chicken here, you know, so
you know,
I hope it's plenty fries.
Yeah, well, it's right. The time is ripe. The time is ripe right now for Tantiura.
Oh yes,
to
definitely.
Party card. To give up she party card now. She PNM party card.
Yes.
Because they try to victimize she and bury she.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
They try to do, yes. Are using a willing participant and rather than them playing innocent as usual. As they did, of course, with Brent Thomas, as they did, of course, with Vincent Nelson, as they did, of course, with, of course, the Police Service Commission, as they did, of course, with, of course, the mashing up of the Sea Bridge, as they did, of course, with the Heritage and Stabilization Fund, as well as, of course, the petrol train and not closing down. And I could go on and on. But go ahead, my friend. I will infringe on your time.
Right. Here it is. You know, no, you can't be living in a house with a wife and you ain't know she home. So the thing about it is not to say that they don't know. These people and them running this country, they must know everything that's going on. You understand? But what's going on is implosion taking place.
Yes, clearly.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, the spit in the sky, yes.
Big bacchanal in small country. You know, I send a clip here, but you look at your clip on them or on YouTube.
Wow.
I sent a clip, right, with that Anne Roberts did.
Okay.
Concerning Jamaica buying the oil from Trinidad, the raw oil, and refining it and selling it back to Trinidad. Please check out that clip and you could show it now.
People were telling me that now. Why the hell you would tell me that Jamaica? But now I will accept that what you're saying there, because all the time I couldn't fathom why would they be buying oil from Jamaica. That was the talk. But now that I understand, they're selling to refine, so they may have a refining capacity, of course. And I'll check it out because they're very good at smelting and so on. Having regard to the bauxite industry there. Yeah.
No, listen. Well, I think it's about 92,000 US dollars. They selling back the oil for 92 or 98 million, something like that. I didn't really take it in seriously.
All right.
But check it out now, brother.
I certainly will. I certainly will. All right. Thank you very much. Of course. Thank you. Let's go straight to the line. Oh boy. All right. Let's go here. All right. Pleasant good night, Mr. Rima. Pleasant good night.
Hello, good night, Mr. Lennox Smith.
Good night to you as well.
What did Mr. just tell you there is true. I was hoping somebody tell you this story.
All right, good, yes.
Because when I come with them things, it will be so important.
Yeah.
People just find out how I find out that. But that news out.
Okay.
I learned about it 2 days now.
Okay.
And listen to me.
Yeah.
Listen, it's right there, the oil refining a long time. Our oil is refining there a long time, years now.
Okay.
It's right there. And, let me bust it for you. I want you to sweat more tonight.
No problem, man.
I hear you say you're sweating.
Yeah.
Well, you go sweat now. Listen to this. The refinery belongs to Jamaica, you know. That refinery is the man they next door own long time. You know you could have refineries in other countries.
Of course, you can invest in other countries, yes.
He had refinery there, the one where they lie and tell where the gas was going in Creosote there.
Yes, Creosote, in fact, I think is Aruba, I believe it was.
Aruba, sorry.
Yeah.
He have in Aruba, Jamaica, and in Cuba.
Wow.
He have all in the United States. right?
Yes.
He have a good bit in different states in the United States. And, you know, there are gas station and thing they
Yes,
could
and
have
nobody
cool,
fleet of
right?
gas stations, yes.
But he have 3 refineries, and that refinery that he had in Jamaica was down for many years. And then the Jamaicans decide to buy it. But apparently they couldn't purchase it. So it ended up in a case where they have 51% shares in it.
Oh, I
so when we think go over there, who gain money too? Who gain outside too? Oh God. You understand why they closed down Petrotrin now? Oh gosh, I like this part. Listen and it have bacchanal with that, you know,
Of course it
because
must have though, especially with Trump.
that man next door there is bacchanal after bacchanal. But all in all, you see how the little young Chinese man is easy? Oh God.
And that is why they are prepared, of course, to throw anybody below the bus to, of course, to stay where they are to do us evil. But of course, karma, and of course,
you have to remember the man says a mafia and is a mafia.
That's right.
And she ended up breaking rank. But you, Mr. Lennox Smith, you have to remember that fella, the little young Chinese man don't like you.
I am fully aware, and just now, he go like me more.
Prime Minister.
I'm going to do things just now that they wouldn't like me more. So
watch me, the man is the Prime Minister now. And he have power to do all kind of things, and he learning from his friends and them next door.
Beautiful. Lessons. I know evil cannot prevail over good. That is what I know. Hitler tried that too. They say the same thing about Hitler.
You have to say your prayers every night.
Obvious. You see our start? Nothing could, of course, undermine.
Say your prayers unto the Lord each and every night.
Yes.
You come out, you put a little hymn in front, a little chorus in front. Because listen now, man, is bacchanal with that refinery, and then Trump giving them that Jamaican Prime Minister eating his waist, you know.
But I could well imagine now that we know what is happening there. Yes, it's obvious. Yes.
When things happen, we here, we go have to ration with we cooking gas and things. We go have to cook with wood.
Obviously. But we'll have to stop. We'll have to stop because we have other callers, right? Yeah.
Yes,
indeed. Quite a development that is taking place. Pleasant good night once again, Mr. Trinity. Go ahead.
Pleasant good night again. Pleasant good night.
Yes.
Sorry, man. You hit the nail on the head. I know commenters say the same thing, but I guess because what happened, I see the man who it is mentioned that, and the man like he laughing, like he make history. They're sending all that oil and refinery thing back down to Trinidad. And he laughing now because it never happened. I think that might be the first time they're actually sending stuff to Trinidad. And he laughing because it used to be the other way around. But anyhow, let me put something in this whole pot too. Your boy, Emsbert, the Ems was saying, well, boy, if they think I gonna run away with my 3 billion, yes, nobody ain't watching me, I gone. You know, so but we have to keep an eye on it. We're thinking, you know.
Yes, we have to have multiple eyes. You know, like a fly. A fly has multiple eyes. They can see several things at the same time. Yeah, that's how we have to be.
Because I just have a feeling this man must be saying, yeah, boy, that is it. Put my money in my bag and I gone because all the talking about and they ain't watching me.
No, you're not going to. Very good that you were able, of course, to bring that nuance to the fore as part of that matrix of evil that is the TNM. Yeah.
Yes, it is. So we have to keep us at it. And your caller who talked earlier on concerning them police and them with them ballot box and them.
Yes. You have your concerns.
No, if you're listening, 10 points.
Yeah, definitely. He was on point there.
Because I tell you this, EBC is the trick of the trade. They're coming up with all kind of thing, partner.
Yes.
All right, I offer again.
Yes, my friend. Yes, my friend. Thank you very much. Of course, let's go back, of course, to the lawyer for Erla Christopher and hear what she has to say. Very interesting indeed. Very interesting indeed. But I wanted to listen to the ending of it when she said, "It ain't done there. It ain't done there."
So if you have any questions, please direct them to me. What I would say that what happened here is an outrage. It is outrageous because the Commissioner of Police was questioned not as a person from whom the officers wanted information, but she was cautioned. And we all know, or we should know, that a caution is administered to a person against whom the officer has reasonable grounds to suspect the person has committed an offense. I sat through with my junior, Mr. Warner, the interview of the commissioner. And at the end of this interview, it was pellucidly clear that there was not one drop of evidence against the commissioner. So the burning question, which I would like answered, is who is the senior officer that authorized the arrest of the Commissioner of Police on material that did not establish grounds to suspect. And certain aspects of that interview were unfair to the Commissioner. For example, I'll just give you one example. She was asked, or she was told, that the investigating officer had, and may I say here, it's rather odd that it was a very junior officer interrogating the Commissioner of Police. And I must commend the Commissioner for the calm that she displayed, her demeanor during that questioning. I want to salute her, and I want to assure the nation that they should maintain faith in their Commissioner of Police. She is a strong woman. Maintain faith in that office holder. Maintain faith also in the Director of Public Prosecutions, who was strong enough, I'll put it in very simple words, to tell the police officers, look, get away from here. Release the commissioner. So one wonders, what was the basis for the arrest? And this is what I keep asking. Why wasn't she questioned without an arrest? So I was on the, what point was I on? Sorry, I moved off. There are so many things I want to say. Oh yes, I was saying that during the questioning, she was told that the officers had evidence that she and other persons unlawfully procured the firearm ammunition. And the question I asked of the officer, who are the other persons? If you are telling my client that you have evidence that she and other persons did an unlawful act, fairness dictates that you identify the other persons. And the response of that officer was that he would not divulge the names of the other persons. Right? So again, I am very happy that the Director of Public Prosecution was able to see the lack of any evidence. I am very glad and happy that he shows that there is a true separation of powers existing in Trinidad and Tobago. And as I said, I want to know who orchestrated this. Was it designed to humiliate the commissioner? Is there a hidden agenda somewhere there? These are questions which will be answered. But as her attorney, I would advise her that this matter not rest here.
So, she's seeking legal redress in some measure?
We have to sit and consider everything. As I said, she has endured the 2 days of questioning, and I think it's time she goes home and puts her head on her own pillow.
Senior, this time, can we say that it's fair to say that the commissioner has been released, no charges have been made?
Of course, no charges. If it were left to the police officers, she may have been charged. Because from the time you tell a person under caution, a person who you have cautioned, you start telling the person, I have evidence you did this, I have evidence. And we all know if you have evidence, you do not even question the person you charge.
So at this moment, could you, Commissioner, return to her duties, especially with this public? What is the next step?
That will have to be discussed. We have to put pen to paper.
What was it like for your client, if you just a state of mind for the last 2 days, and I know it must have been very difficult for her seeing this all playing out in the public as well, and you sit on an executive with officers that you thought you could trust.
Well, not only officers you thought you could trust, but officers that you believe had a certain degree of competencies. So as I said, it was traumatic for her, but she remained stoic throughout, and I commend her for that.
Is there anything the Commissioner would like to say
No,
in a nutshell about the trust?
I have advised her not to speak, and if she speaks now, she will have to get another thing.
Fair enough.
Okay, so
Elder talking here, man.
difficult period.
Not Elder talking. Elder talking here. Elder, of course, the attorney tell her flat she only to open she mouth. Of course, she'll have to get another attorney. Elder, man. A very good friend of mine, incidentally. I'll have to pass and commend her, of course, for that stoic, according to her, that stoic, that calm, that phlegmatic approach, very nonchalant, and of course appear to be calm and of course not fettered by the overwhelming circumstances that they found themselves. What was that? Well, let's hear the beginning of the video to get the appreciation. Notice I told you, I don't operate until I know for sure. So you would understand why, of course, people are making some very intelligent contributions, because, of course, we waited and see the matter unfold and get all the information, because this thing is historic in its making. It is historic in its dimension. It is unprecedented, and therefore one has to be careful. You notice, if somebody asks the question, they said there was, of course, a social media matter that talks about $4 million found at her home, and some US money, and some, of course, I think, Canadian money, I believe. But notice, I never brought it to you. I knew that. But I never brought it because I looked at, of course, the interview of the police. And the police called a press conference, and there was no mention of any searching and or monies that would have been gleaned as a consequence. And how does it move from, of course, signing a firearms user's license for a prohibited weapon to searching the home of the Commissioner of Police? That is madness. So I said, no, I will not, of course, insult your intelligence or in any way abuse my position by, of course, laying that as much as I would like it to be, or as much as some would like it to be, you don't do that. You must be eclectic, you must be discerning, and you must be, of course, logically and common sensely determine what you must share and what you must not share. However, if I was asked that, I would have said that the evidence does not support that so-called social media information that, of course, is bandied about. But let's get back, of course, as to what triggered all of that. I think Elder was magnificent as a lawyer. I remembered her because late Theodore Guerra and I were good friends. It came as a consequence of an experience I will share with you in due course. But he always admired me after that. And then, of course, we became good friends. So anytime I broke and so on, I will check him. But Elder was working with him as well in the same chamber. And so, of course, I had a chance, of course, to meet with her, and he will introduce me to her from time to time. And we became, of course, friends in that regard. Listen, to what triggered this debacle, this catastrophe, this chaotic situation, and this scenario where, of course, persons clearly with ambition to become the dominant factor within the police service and its leadership, they spat in the sky and it fell in their faces because they betrayed their titular and leger boss, Earl Christopher. Let's go to the line before, of course, I bring back the rationale for what transpired there and how quickly it dissipated and came to a crashing end for those persons with malicious ambitions. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Yeah, Mr. Smith.
Yes.
That is not a good assessment. You know why? Earlier time will be up by time the election come. I believe it might be in May or so. She time will be up. So she won't be there when the election comes. So that is not a good assessment. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Go ahead.
She gone. Because remember, there's only give her 1 year. So they wouldn't have her there if she doing that. By the time that year up, it might be May. Election, it might be in August or so on. Do you understand? So she wouldn't be there. So that's a good assessment. Okay.
All right. So we have to factor in the fact that she would have gone. But why would there be a plot for her to leave now? There must have been some factor as well, because it could be that the question of renewal, if she had done well. Because remember, there was the factor of renewal when they orchestrated to leave to get rid of who? Gary Griffith. So my friend, while of course I take your point, but the fact of the matter is there is precedent that they would have wanted to get prematurely rid of someone who just applied for renewal, because I'm sure she would have put in her own request for renewal, or the Police Service Commission would have had, of course, to give a status report, an evaluative report as to her performance. So respond to me on the response that I gave with respect, of course, to your saying that it is not, of course, a valid assessment of the situation. I would love to hear your response, my friend. All right? It is not, of course, who brighter than who, but it's about being as practical as possible and knowing as much facts as we can, so as to, of course, arrive at a logical and close to the truth as possible. All right? Yes, indeed. Let's go straight to the lines. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Hi, Lennox.
Hey.
Can we go there?
Yes, go ahead, loud and clear.
All right. Keeping in mind the word politically, what Rowley say,
Yes.
if you go against them,
Yeah.
they will kill you politically.
Right.
If I had to write a title for a movie, when I see that just play off,
Yeah.
it will be to kill a police commissioner. To kill a police commissioner. Keeping in mind the word politically, eh?
Yeah.
I even put the word politically, I just mentioned that.
Yeah.
Now you could use to get rid of or to kill.
Yes.
But to kill to in the same context.
Yeah.
But to kill will be the name of my movie. They don't know the issue will kill you politically.
Right.
That will be my title for my movie.
I hear you, my friend. All right. Is that it?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah?
That's it. Then we can be another caller.
Yeah, I could do that, I just mentioned.
All right. Thank you very much. A pleasant good night. Yeah, go ahead. Yes, go ahead, my friend. Yeah, go ahead, my friend. Yeah, go ahead. Yes. Go ahead.
Remember, you have to go to Parliament now to get a police commissioner, right?
Right.
The parliament had to say who they want. Even when the police service commission pick a person, that doesn't mean to say automatically
Go ahead,
that they
make your
will take
point,
it, right?
make your point,
Is
make
the
your point, go ahead.
parliament,
Yes.
is the parliament had to make that decision, right?
Right.
The only thing, so when she time up, remember she reached resigning age, right? So they forced her on us, right? The only things that I could see happening there is if they charge her for something and they find her guilty, she'll just lose her pension, right? If they want to do her wrong, then.
No, but you made no. Let's not go ahead of us. You made the point that she would have expired before, of course, the election code, and that you gave the impression. I got the impression that she would have been a spent bullet. But I made the point as well that she could be given a further stint at the wicket, so to speak. By a recommendation of the Police Service Commission. You have not adjusted that. You just went on to something else.
No,
is it so or not?
What I'm saying, right? Yeah. Listen what I'm saying.
Go ahead.
Why they wouldn't give her an assessment, right? Because remember last year, we had about 640 murders, right? So that would have been against her with the Police Service Commission. You understand what I'm saying? So the
but suppose things would have changed between the SOE and the time that she has to exit. You factor that in?
Yes, I factor that in, right? But
SOE?
But I believe
SOE as well?
sincerely,
all right, go ahead.
It might have something different to that. But what I'm saying, if they want to put in somebody else like Suzette Martin, then right, they have no problem to do that. Because when Ola time up is them have to make the decision to extend her time or not.
I hear you, but you accept that the possibility exists that she could go on, because you said that comes to an end when, of course, the time is up. So you accept the fact that she could.
Definitely.
Right. Okay. Right. Good.
Definitely.
All right. Let me tell you why. Let me go further now so you will understand. Because in Gary Griffith's case, the opposite is the case. In that he had an opportunity to go on. But why did they make the intervention to prevent him from reaching the parliament? It's obvious. The opposition would have been there to make the argument for Gary Griffith. That is what Rowley was afraid of. That is what Rowley was afraid of. Because Rowley himself said, well, he would have to come to the parliament anyway. In other words, we could have made a decision there not to take him in, not to have him there. But the opposition would have made mincemeat of them based on the performance. And the same thing would have happened, of course, to Ola. That is the big difference in crying it straight to the parliament or not crying it straight to the parliament. A pleasure, good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Welcome to the Lennox.
Yes, go ahead.
Lennox, it was reported that one of the police who was watching over Rowley, the Secret Service people, one of them had reported to Rowley as the National Security Council chairman.
Police Commissioner Erla.
And Rowley passed it on over to the deputy.
Police Commissioner Erla Harewood Christopher.
So it was reported in the papers that one of those police who's guarding Rowley gave him was the whistleblower who gave Rowley the information. Although Rowley said he don't know.
But we know that Rowley had to be involved. We know that, and he would have passed it on to who? Somebody who he confided in and who reciprocates. Not so?
Yes.
Right.
Yes. And because they're protecting this woman because she had to make her jail because she went Barbados and pick up this man, Brent Thomas.
Ah, man, now we're talking
that's the whole
about
thing.
this.
Although Rowley and Hines are saying they don't know nothing about it, they're not commenting, they don't know nothing.
That is a big, blatant, conspicuous lie. It's so obvious a blind man can see that. That they lie.
I know, it was discussed in the on Thursday when they take up Baraja Best. They had a security council meeting.
Yes.
Ola was not there. She wasn't invited. So they planned this really good. And all this is really the
It's a con job. It's a conspiracy. And typical of the Rowley administration, and as somebody said, is a blasted mafia, a criminal enterprise, I would prefer to call it, so they know clearly what we mean.
And this is what happening. These guys know that this is the end of them, you know.
That's
so
right, they know that, and they are only deepening the animosity and the grit of the population to get rid of them. And I want to tell the Laventils, be on the right side of history. We want 39 blasted seats in Trinidad, 39 for the UNC, and of course, the PNM must have 0. Including Tobago.
On that topic, I want you to talk to tell Camilla, man, to select all she nominees, man. Jack wanna send out the message. I thought she would have taken up because that happened in 2015 while she was in government. Rowley done put out the people a whole year before the election. She know the date and she come out 2 weeks before. So listen, if you have no time,
I would repose my trust in the strategy of Kamala. She has grown magnificently because if the people have made up their minds, it didn't matter. A similar situation occurred in the 1986 election, you know, when of course all that talk was talking and the PNM was out there and they beating the chest and so on up and down the Eastern corridor and so on, you know. But at the end of the day, to the tree in the tail. To understand, this couldn't be. This is worse than 1986. Worse.
Right now, the amount of PNM people that jump onto UNC now, they really don't even have to campaign and all.
But of course, but I mean, we can't talk that all the time to make people complacent and say they win already. We need every single vote to go there.
That.
Yeah.
Yeah, right about that. So we expecting a big victory, and I wanted to tell you something, you know, but I was in Trinidad and I couldn't come and look for you.
Oh gosh, boy, why they come by? Mr. No. I will say something about that because he just, I went yesterday, in fact, I met him in San Fernando, our boy, and he gave me a nice laptop with, of course, the new camera that we are using now. I want to thank him. Ken, he came now, I think he's going back up on the 13th. So we're having some discussions and so on as to how we could further improve, how we could improve the program.
Yeah. I had to hustle down to come. My brother Roll Henry's in the hospital.
Oh, I see, okay.
So he having an operation tomorrow, but I couldn't stay. I had to come back up. So
all right, my friend. All right, well, it's an opportunity lost, but of course, you know, with us, no opportunity is gone there. Permanently.
I didn't even look for a friend. I didn't call nobody, nothing. I just stay with my family and, you know.
No problem, man. No problem. Yes. But thanks very much, of course.
I ain't forget you. As soon as I settle down, I'm going to work with all you again.
Indeed. Yes, man.
Okay?
Yes, man, friend. Yes, my friend. Thank you.
Have a good time.
Same to you. Oh, my. Sorry about that if I cut you off beforehand. But yes, of course, tonight is a kind of exciting night in the sense that, of course, we are seeing, of course, unfolding before us. All what we have been saying in the past, who the PNM is, what Rowley is, the fact that they would engage in these elaborate charades to, of course, and they don't care whose career and what personality they destroy so as to remain in government and to control the treasury of the country. And I say to them, 39 seats for the UNC in Trinidad, and of course, the other 2 in Tobago must go to somebody else, most likely is Fali. And let us not waste time. And Laventil, East Port of Spain, Peter Silats. It's nothing about friendship. It has to do with our survival and survivability, economically, socially, culturally, and our own sanity. With a bunch of incompetent, indolent, wicked, nefarious conmen and conwomen, and of course of a Neanderthal nature, cave people, because of course they take away laptops and computers and want, of course, to play now that they are the best technologically supportive government. Haul all the tail and get out. Get out. Get out. Get out. A pleasant good night. Welcome back, Mr. Tagawiwa. Hello? Let me just make sure that everything is in place here. Let me see if it's the... Oh, sorry about that. Sorry about that. All right, go ahead, Mr. Tagrigo.
Right, you hear me good, right?
Yes, loud and clear. Yes.
The fellow who tries to convince you,
Yeah.
always showing him that the that time going to expire every time, sometime soon. If you say one point, the panic that taking in PLM camp right now, he don't know when they're going to call this election. It could happen any time. Because the longer they go, it's going to vote, it's going to be for them, you know.
Of course, that is clear. But no, but he was making a point which was a good point. Which was, yeah, but he was making a point which was a good point if there were no response. And that is to say that she would have expired. Why would they want, of course, to see her as a threat? But of course, he didn't consider that she might want to get another bite at the cherry, so to speak, and then the SOE might have assisted in that whole process because she would have had to play a part, etc., etc. And then, of course, even when you go to Parliament, the reason why Gary Griffith wasn't allowed, issue wasn't allowed to reach Parliament, because the opposition would have made mincemeat of the government, because they would have had to answer, Rowley, they would have had to answer, how come he did so well and only don't want him? You see? So Rowley tried to avoid that. And that is what is happening. You see, you have to be someone like myself, who, of course, are totally absorbed in this matter, quite apart, of course, from my own training. But go ahead.
But Lennox, don't be surprised. If you're expecting there how they think tossing and tuning, they come and drop a bombshell and call it election, you know.
But I wouldn't be surprised, no, and I think the UNC will not be surprised either. But of course, they are monitoring. Some people are saying that they should have all the foot on the ground, but of course, we made the argument as it is not necessary at this point in time. No, there's not necessary at this point in time. And of course, as I said, this situation is worse than 1986. Rowley himself has collapsed. His intellectual and cognitive and cerebral capacity is clearly in decline. He has given up because, of course, he's claiming to, of course, give way to that man. But no, it's because, of course, there's some other factor. And as I keep saying, Donald Trump in and Rowley gone. Yeah. All right, my friend. Yes. Oh, go ahead, because somebody's calling. Go ahead again.
All right. Our representative for this area passed here yesterday.
Yeah.
Natalie Kaitan.
Uh-huh.
On looks, she's already.
All right, I hear you.
Good looking girl.
I hear you. Well, from your perspective, but the proof of the pudding, to me, is on election day and getting the votes in, because the election is won on the day. PNM knows that. The UNC by now will know that, and therefore it's about, of course, the day. Yeah, your machinery of the day. Yeah, to make sure you get every single vote out. Yeah.
Good looks was the key to winning.
She win already. I hear you.
I'm going with that.
Thank you very much, of course, for that added intervention. All right. Yes. Yes, indeed. Of course, people, it's now 10 o'clock. So any call comes again will be the final call. But let us, of course, look at the genesis of this whole matter.
Christopher has been arrested and charged by investigators. Police Commissioner Erla Harewood Christopher has been arrested and charged by investigators as part of an ongoing probe into the importation of 2 sniper rifles for the Strategic Services Agency, SSA. In a jaw-dropping display.
Let's pause and take the final call, and then of course we'll go back to where we are. Where am I? I'm getting some problems here. Let me see. Pleasant good night. Welcome. You hear me? You hear me? Are you hearing me? I know. Well, all right. You'll have to call back, caller, because I'm trying to be as close as possible to 10 o'clock. We will end. So call back, caller. Sorry about that. It's a pleasure be having some problem. Let me see once again. All right. Let's go again. Going once, twice. Right. Okay. Right. All right. Good. Yes. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
A pleasant good night again. Final call. Thank you.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Lennox.
Yeah.
Lennox. Well, I believe it's Mr. Tagarigua.
Is that what?
Just on the line? Who was just on the line?
Who just?
The last caller.
Yeah, Tagarigua, yes.
Right. But put he on the head of the class is true for me. Because I'm thinking of what is going on, and exactly that. The longer they stay on that track, they're going to lose longer the end of the game.
Oh, yes,
so
yeah, they deepen the animosity of the people. Yeah.
They already lost the people.
Yeah.
They already lost the people, the citizens. They already lost them. The only thing now they can hold on to is the EBC. And that is what they're going for now. So they're doing all the conspiracy thing, and it ended up right back to the EBC. So we have to keep your eye on EBC now, because where any movements that they make is for that.
Yeah.
It's to steal it.
Yeah.
So let me keep your eyes on that, and pleasant good night everybody again, and Lennox, take a rest. It was nice tonight.
I hear you. Well, tough weekend. All right. Thank you very much. But quickly, of course, before I go to the genesis of this entire affair, let me say, yes, we are working. This is a letter from EBC as a consequence, of course, of freedom of information. This, of course, as far as the projects are concerned, well, I have, of course, these documents that are with us that has already prepared and packaged and willing, of course, to be executed when Kamala Persad-Bissessar and the UNC gets into office. Of course, this one is considered to be the report of the ad hoc committee for the eradication of crime in Laventille. Look how thick it is. Yes, we have this, of course. We have another initiative. This is called, of course, the Mobile Developmental Incubator for Laventille and environs. Right? A mobile development incubator for Laventille. Why? Because we understand the borderline issue. Understand that. We understand the borderline issue. And people cannot move from one part of the community to the next because they could die. And so what you do, instead of having them come out into some central located institution or building, then you go in there. And therefore, the term mobile development incubator for Laventille and environs. Mobile, you go inside so that a person reaches 65 years of age, but their son or their family afraid to bring them out so that they could start the process of what? Of getting their pension. Well, you go inside there and you fill out the form for them and you deposit it and so on, and of course you get, of course, the relevant authorities to come into the area to whatever assessment they have to make physically and so on. So instead of them coming out, they go, why is, of course, we settle the broader issue of crime and criminality from, of course, the ad hoc committee for the eradication of crime in Laventille projects in conjunction with others. Let me just give you a couple more. We have, of course, this one, the Maloney Community Initiative. Yes, we designed that for them. Maloney, because we see Maloney as a transplantation of Laventille, and that's why we had to go Maloney, go Laventille, and of course in recent times go further up the road. Or lower down the road, I should say, in that new development that has divided itself into, of course, Chumakang, Bitam, etc., a transplantation of the area. The idea is containment, not the dislodging and the proliferation and the spreading and the mushrooming of these people all over the place. You are going to create a whole country of criminals. Whole country, every nook and cranny of criminals, if you follow what Rowley and they plan to do, empty Port of Spain, because they want, of course, their 1%ers to own and the gated community that they want to, of course, pursue for their friends and financiers. Because in the West, they have, of course, expanded, and so they have to get other places, but like Laventille, that has the greatest view in Trinidad and Tobago of Port of Spain and the Gulf of Paria. And of course, this one is what? Yes, Maloney Developmental Committee. We did all of that. Let me just give you a couple again, man. We working. This, of course, is a a socio-economic data collected over the years. It has to do, of course, with housing relocation fares in Laventille, in Laventille constituencies. And this one, of course, is about where the various gangs are located. Whether, of course, it's Block 22, whether it be, of course, Cipriani Avenue, whether it be Kelly Village, and so on and so on. We have that. We did all of that. Let me give you one or two again. We did all the research. We have, of course, this one, a social impact survey on the Laventille and environs, of course, conducted. Yes, indeed. And, of course, it talks about, of course, property owners who prefer to sell and leave. We did all of that. There's another one, of course, reason for wanting to sell property. We did all of that. We're going to deal in details with some of them. Let me just give you a couple more. It's quite a lot of work we have done. I tell you, it's a 1,000-page document I gave to Manning. I gave it twice to Rowley. And I gave it, of course, to Kamala Prasad Bissesa, most recent. So we are not making joke. This is not Vikey. And look, but of course, this one is Stuart Young's pre-action protocol letter against Andy and myself. We will deal with that as well later down the road because he plainly wanted to be prime minister. Well, he had to feel the pressure. And then, of course, these, of course, pre-action protocol letter. Yes, indeed. Oh, this one. There's another one I can't recall, but we had a pre-action protocol letter from even, of course, the current minister of tourism, because we mentioned that we have something, a mark to bust on him. He sent a pre-action protocol letter to us. Yeah? I talked about the ground report here. The Beetham Gardens Organizing Committee, right? Proposal, annual inter-community beauty pageant and sports program. They came to me, not the neophyte that they put it up for Beetham for. Yes, he did some work in Beetham, but nobody knows him beyond Beetham. Lennox Smith, yes. And so, of course, the very beauty pageant and the sports program, he would have been a beneficiary of, but don't know where it come from. It's Lennox Smith that gave them. And when, of course, they were to meet the Prime Minister, I went with them. But I never attended any one of these occasions because I didn't want Lennox Smith to be a target where they will not get the benefits, because once Hines and them know that Lennox Smith involved, they get in a state of trepidation and then they start to tremble. So I would stay out, even though they would have invited me to come and participate out of normal, of course, human, natural invitation. But no, I'm smart enough to know not to go there, because they would start to ask them what Smith doing there and how Smith, and when they start to talk about Smith's involvement, I know they ain't getting nothing. So I prefer, of course, to stay out. But these, and don't tell me that, don't tell me that you ain't understand what I'm saying, because nobody ain't tell all you. Well, I telling all you, and how the hell I get this document. And if you go to any one of those organizers, whether it be, of course, the fellow who connected to the PNM, what is his name? Leslie, whatever his name is. It's he who came to me when I was, of course, when we had our office in Mova, and we did this document that caused the PNM under Manning to give them a challenge trophy. This document did that for the annual, of course, inter-community beauty pageant and sports program. I doubt they have it these days, because under Rowley's total pain and destruction. Yes, this is another document. It deals, of course, with the Laventille Human Development Indicators, and of course, social, economic, and cultural data and analysis information. And then it has, of course, it covers what? The number of property for sale, property owners who, of course, prefer to sell and leave the area. Reasons for wanting to sell property. Number of professionals residing in the area. A survey in progress. A comparison of used and unused recreational grounds, housing, relocation fares in Laventille, in the Laventille constituencies. All of that, I am going to give you all the details. We have it. There's more. All of this, more. Incubators like peas on every subject you could think about. Whether it's Beetham or whether, of course, is Sealots, or whether, of course, it's Nelson Street, or whether it's Observatory Street, and, of course, as I said, Maloney, La Hoqueta, etc. All of them. So this is not a joke. No joke. East-West Corridor Transformation Initiative. This is serious business. Serious business, people. Serious business. Look at here. Serious business. Serious business. Serious business. Serious business. This is what we are talking about. Waste time with these ne'er-do-wells and myopic and short-sighted and lack of creativity, but only, of course, to thief money and to be attracted to the treasury of the country and deliver nothing. Comparatively speaking, nothing. Let's go, of course, to conclude, to, of course, what was the genesis for, of course, this recent debacle, this recent embarrassment, this recent, of course, collapse or contribution to the collapse of the Rowley administration and lame duck administration. Shame to lie down, afraid to lie down, because there's blue lights and silver braces in the tails.
Our Deputy Commissioner of Police Suzette Martin and an elite squad of intelligence officers stormed the office of her own boss, Commissioner Erla Harewood Christopher, in a dramatic takedown that stunned the nation. The development has led government to call an emergency cabinet meeting.
The Commissioner, for the calm that she displayed, her demeanor during that questioning, I want to salute her, and I want to assure the nation that they should maintain faith in their Commissioner of Police. She is a strong woman. Maintain faith in that office holder. Maintain faith also in the Director of Public Prosecutions, who was strong enough, I'll put it in very simple words, to tell the police officers, look, get away from here. Release the Commissioner. So one wonders, what was the basis for the arrest? And this is what I keep asking. Why wasn't she questioned without an arrest? So I was on the, what point was I? I'm sorry I moved off. There are so many things I want to say. Oh yes, I was saying that during the questioning, she was told that the officers had evidence that she and other persons unlawfully procured the firearm ammunition. And the question I asked of the officer, who are the other persons? If you are telling my client that you have evidence that she and other persons did an unlawful act.
Yes, indeed, people, of course, we have come to the end of tonight's program. Don't forget, of course, tomorrow morning, the ground report, Andy and Mike, Andy most likely will be around. And, of course, we start at 6 o'clock. So don't forget, of course, we are joined by the Gael Caribbean. And, of course, we go until 10 a.m. Tomorrow, first day of the work week in Trinidad and Tobago. Have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless and stay safe. Bye-bye.
And as I said, I want to know who orchestrated this. Was it designed to humiliate the Commissioner? Is there a hidden agenda somewhere there? These are questions which will be answered. But as her attorney, I would advise her that this matter not rest here.
So she's seeking legal redress in some measure?
We have to sit and consider everything. As I said, she has endured the 2 days of questioning, and I think it's time she goes home and puts her head on her own pillow.
Senior, this time, can we say that it's fair to say that the commission has been released no charges?
Of course, no charges. If it were left to the police officers, she may have been charged. Because from the time you tell a person under caution, a person who you have caution, you start telling the person, I have evidence, you did this, I have evidence. And we all know if you have evidence, you do not even question the person you charge.
So at this moment, could you, Commissioner, return to her duties, especially with this public? What is the next step?
That will have to be discussed. We have to put pen to paper.
What was it like for your client? If you can, just a state of mind for the last 2 days, and I know it must have been very difficult for her seeing this all playing out in the public as well. And you sit on an executive with officers that you thought you could trust.
Well, not only officers you thought you could trust, but officers that you have a certain degree of competence.
Police